Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to HG Radio, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration. Here is your co-founder and host, Kim Becker.
Hello, gorgeous. You are listening to Hello, Gorgeous, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration on Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. I'm your host, Kim Becker, once a hairdresser and a salon owner, now the founder of a nonprofit organization that coaches and trains women with cancer to help them smile when they look in the mirror. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, I have the best job in the whole world. This episode is brought to you by Amplified Marketing Group. They specialize in affordable mobile solutions that will get you noticed and help you retain customers. Check them out at www.amplified.marketing. Our guest today is Gabby Mottershead. Gabby is from England and is the founder of Confidence After Cancer, an organization that provides coaching and support for women after cancer treatment. Gabby was inspired to start the support and coaching nonprofit based on her own experience. She was diagnosed with inflammatory breast cancer, rare and aggressive, in 2008 at the age of 44. Following chemotherapy, surgeries, and radiotherapy, she suffered with depression and lack of confidence. She realized that there are lots of support for cancer patients during their treatment, but when that ends, you are very much alone. She started to connect with other people on social media to set up a support group, and was stunned by the numbers of women who contacted her saying that they felt the same and had nowhere to turn to. She has written a short book, Supreme Confidence in 7 Days, in which she says the good news is that confidence can be learned if you are willing to make some changes. In this book, you will learn 7 simple steps to increase your confidence level. Gabby is an experienced business and life coach. She is also a practitioner of NLP, a master Reiki healer. She is passionate about nutrition healing. Her mission is to inspire healthy minds and healthy bodies. Gabby lives in Manchester with her husband, Paul. Her sons and grandchildren live nearby. Hi, Gabby, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Kim. Good to speak to you.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited that we were able to make this work today.
Yeah, me too. It's good to connect.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about your cancer journey.
Sure.
So how was your cancer found? Was it through a mammogram or a self-examination? I always like to bring that up because you never know who's dealing with the same things that you went through that they've kind of poo-pooed and shoved off to the side. So tell me about that.
Absolutely. So I found really my cancer self-examination, and it wasn't really even a lump. It was more like a thickening in the skin, and it just felt not right, you know. And they sometimes inflammatory breast cancer can be called like orange peel skin, and it's where the skin just feels a funny texture. And so, yeah, it was self-examination, and then I went for screening. I went for a mammogram, which I found out later, inflammatory breast cancer doesn't show on a mammogram. Oh. So then I had a core biopsy is what led to my diagnosis, and I had a needle aspiration, which was painful, and that didn't really find anything either. But I had all 3 tests in the same day, so it was only a few days really from attending hospital that I got my diagnosis. But I feel quite lucky, really, because since my diagnosis, I've connected with a lot of other women, mostly in America as well, around the world, who struggle with a diagnosis. It's not always diagnosed straight away because it doesn't present with a lump, because it doesn't show on a mammogram. Quite often it's mistaken for mastitis or, a blocked breast duct, or quite often it'd be quite some time before a proper diagnosis is made. So I do feel quite fortunate that I was diagnosed straight away when I did get to the hospital.
And what type of treatment did you have to endure?
So straight away, it was high-dose chemotherapy, 6 sessions of chemotherapy, lasting about 5 months, I think, and then a little bit of a break for a month, and then it was mastectomy, and then following that, it was radiotherapy. And then probably just over a year later, I went for the DEP flap reconstruction.
Now explain that. I'm not familiar with that. Can you share that with me?
Of course. So I had a bit of time, at first when you're thrown into the world of diagnosis and treatment, everything's done in such a hurry. You don't really have time to ask a lot of questions. But I had time to prepare for the reconstruction, and I started doing some research, and I found that a lot of ladies that had implants had problems with them. There's different types they can do where they bring a muscle around from your back to create a new breast. But what I actually had is they took some fat from my stomach, and so I had plenty of that to go around, and they actually make like a big diamond shape across your stomach. It's quite it's really two big operations all in one, all in the same day. So this diamond shape from the stomach is cut out and shaped into a new breast, and then attached to make you a new breast. So very clever what they can do these days.
Wow. Well, and I would imagine too that, and again, if I'm getting too personal, but that your breasts look very natural now because of the fact that it's made with fat instead of a rounded silicone thing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly right. I'd met and talked to quite a lot of ladies who had problems with their implants, and implants, even when they go well, they're not for life. And also, I couldn't get my head around the fact that I'd had a cancer that had been taken away, and then they wanted to put to me a foreign body into me, and it just felt wrong. So it is a natural shape. It's a little bit different, and I've got scar tissue, but it's me. It's nothing foreign, and that for me was a good choice.
And again, so were they able to save the nipple with that too when they did it that way? Or did that go when they did the mastectomy, and they took that as well?
Yeah, so they did that at a later date. I went back and had like a new nipple made, but also I didn't realise as well, with all the work on my stomach, they made me a new belly button. I don't know where my original belly button went, but I've got a new one now.
You got all kinds of new pieces, parts. Well, but the other thing is too, I think, what an incredible thing that they can take your own fat from your belly to be able to make you a new breast. There's no anti-rejection anything, right? Because it's tissue that's from you that your body will just readily accept. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what they can do. Yeah, I'm so in awe of my doctors. Yeah.
No kidding. So then with that, do you still go for continued and routine mammograms?
I don't, because the mammogram, as I say, inflammatory breast cancer doesn't show on a mammogram.
Yes.
And I couldn't understand. It was more like, it seemed to me like they were ticking a box. They were like, well, after treatment, you need to come back for a mammogram. And I was asking the question, but it doesn't show on a mammogram. Why would I come back for a mammogram? So I did a bit more of my own research, and I pay, in England, we're very lucky. We have the National Health Service, so my treatment was all free. But I pay privately to go and have thermal imaging, and that to me is a much better way of screening than mammogramming. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep, I'm familiar with thermal imaging. That's awesome. Right. I'm glad that's available.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have to pay for it, but I'm happy to pay it. Yeah.
Right, just to make sure that it's all clear. I'm with you, whatever it takes at that point in time.
Absolutely,
So what kind of things actually helped you while you were going through treatment?
I think a lot is about connection. So when I was diagnosed 13 years ago, and when Facebook and all these things they were there, but they were still quite new. But I think connecting with other people that have been through similar journeys is invaluable. And I still have people contacting me who are just starting their journey, and it's no problem for me at all to connect with these ladies, to talk to them. The operation we just talked about, the DEP flap, I spoke to a lady about a week ago who was considering going through that, and she'd heard some horrible things about it, and she was scared. And it's for me, it's the connection. It's somebody who's been through what you've been through. Your friends and your family, obviously they love you, they want you to get better, they're there to support you, but they don't really know what it's like. And also when you're going through that treatment, they're scared, you're scared, and there's a lot of things you don't say. There's a lot of things you don't say to your friends and family. So connecting with other people that other women particularly that have been through a similar diagnosis really helped me. Yeah, definitely.
I think there's something very powerful to be able to say to somebody, I know what you're going through.
Absolutely, and for them to know as well. And I always try to, it's weird, I always try to say I know a little of what you're going through, because everyone's unique and everyone worries about different things. And for me, the scary thing was my sons. I thought, I can't leave I wasn't scared of dying. I was scared of leaving my sons, and I thought there's never the right time to leave your sons, but my sons were going through university, and I thought they need me. I need to get better, and that's the thing that I held on to really, is I need to get better. I want to be at the graduations, I want to get better for my sons, but everyone's unique and everyone's got their own reason to get better. So you can't really say I know exactly what you're going through, but I know something of what you're going through. I know what it's like to go for treatment. I know how awful it is to go for chemotherapy. I know how terrifying it is to have to go to hospital to have a mastectomy. That's something you wouldn't wish on anybody.
That's right. But I think just even like you said, even I know a little of what you're going through. I think that there are people in their lives that don't know, and we with Hello Gorgeous, a lot of times what we say is that we find that we can be a support to women because people don't know what to say, so they say nothing and stay away. Yeah. And this is when you need those girlfriends around you. This is when you need that posse of people just to hug you and tell you it'll be okay, even if they don't know it's going to be okay. Just having somebody there to say it's going to be okay. There's something very comforting about that. But that's what we have found, is that people, they don't know what to say, so it's better that they just stay away and they say nothing. And it's hard.
It is hard. I had a friend actually, and she told me, she was going back some years. Her mother had breast cancer many, many years ago, and she would find that people would cross the road rather than speak to her. And that she found that one of the hardest things to deal with. And, she told me that story, and I felt so sad for that lady. Yeah. It's
awful. But I understand, though, too, part of it is, I think it's fear. I think that they're fearful that either A, they're going to say the wrong thing, or they look at this woman and they think, what would I do if it were me? And could I handle it? And so looking into those eyes, thinking the possibility, or even losing their friend as they go through that, I think it's all of those things that they just can't deal with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just awful all around. Yeah. Families, friend, everybody. It's really tough. It's not nice for anybody to deal with.
So how did your diagnosis change your life?
I think a lot of soul searching, it sort of throws everything into really sharp focus. You think about everything that you've been through. You think about how you're living your life, how you're spending your time. At the time, I was very much into my work. I used to work long hours. I had quite a high-pressured job. And my family, I loved them. Of course, I loved them. But I wasn't making the time for them. And I wasn't making time for myself either. So I realised, I think, that I couldn't keep living with the stress that I was under. You live in a stressful environment. I think sooner or later something's got to give. And maybe, a cancer diagnosis for me, I thought was a way of somebody saying, hello, this is not right. You're not living in the way that you should be living. You can't keep living this stressful life. You can't keep putting yourself second. You need to take some time out and put yourself first for a little while. And it allowed me almost, the diagnosis, to be a little bit selfish, which I've always been taught as a child was a terrible thing to be selfish. But actually to be a little bit selfish and think, well, what do I want? And what do I want to do today? And what will make me feel good? So I think that was one big thing. And then another thing I think I realised, and I sort of knew this before, but I didn't really do too much about it, was I could not allow toxic people in my life anymore. And I was spending time, particularly a friend that I used to have, it was like an obligation that I used to spend time with her. I felt a little bit sorry for her. We used to go, spend time together, and I didn't enjoy it. And I felt she was dragging me down. Her energy was not nice. She was quite a toxic, nasty person. And I just thought, why am I doing this? I'm putting myself second. I'm putting this other person first because I feel a little bit sorry for her. And actually, I'm in crisis now. I've got to do everything. I've got to just throw everything that I can at my recovery. And I don't have time for these toxic people. Mm-hmm. I don't have time for this negativity. And it's not what I want my life to be about. So
when you have to take care of yourself, I always go back to when we flew and we were able to travel prior to COVID, you get on an airplane, and what would they say? But they would say, administer the oxygen to yourself first and then help the people around you. And I lean on that so much because I too am, I'm a solo parent, and I, run a business, and, all of these people need things. But if I'm not here, if I don't take care of myself and I'm not here, I can't take care of you. Yeah. And so I think that's really, it's a hard lesson to learn, though. It is not easy to put yourself first. It just isn't.
It is. And again, it took a cancer diagnosis for me to actually to have that wake up call to say, hello, this is important. this is life or death now. You can't keep on living the way you were living. You need to make some changes. So come on, let's do what you need. You know you need to do this, so let's just do it.
And what career did you have prior to your cancer diagnosis? What were you doing?
Yeah. So I worked in finance. So my story really was I left school. I was pregnant when I left school. I left with no qualifications. And then I was 18 when I met Paul, my husband, and I threw myself into my work. I just by chance got a job in finance. I was good at it. I studied for years. I worked really hard.